This is KGW News at Sunrise.
And I'm not surprised that he stood up and tried to take on the gunman. I am surprised that he's dead.
Fellow veterans and friends are remembering one of the victims in Sunday night's shooting at a Safeway in Bend. We'll hear how he attacked the shooter while working in the store's produce section.
Also, the DEA putting out another warning about rainbow fentanyl. We've reported on this problem in the Portland area. Coming up this morning, how many other states agents have found it in just the last month.
And we always look forward to this on the Sunrise Show, a new edition in our series that we call What's in a Name? This morning, the focus is Longview, Washington. So how did Longview get its name? Well, all we're going to say at this point is that it involved an exchange of money. If you're willing to pay for something, you can often get that something.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, so we'll have more on that story. That's just the little sneak peek. More of that coming up at 5:15.
I thought it was long and it has a view, but you're saying something else.
Exactly, that's kind of where I was going.
Yeah,
hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, middle of the week. We ended up hitting 100 degrees in Portland yesterday. You're going to cool it off for us today.
502, 100 yesterday. It was still 100 at 6 p.m. and then very quickly cooled off when the sun started going down. That was a record for the date. The old record was 98. Right now we're at 67, partly cloudy to mostly clear out there. 79 at noon. Yesterday it was 84 at noon. So you're going to notice it not being as hot. Instead of hitting 100, we think we'll be 93, which is hot, but not as hot. That's your forecast.
All right, Rod, thank you. Well, this morning we are also hearing stories from employees as well as customers who jumped in to help out on Sunday night as a gunman opened up fire inside a Safeway store in Bend.
So this happened Sunday evening. The suspect shot and killed himself after killing two other men, both of whom were veterans. Here's KGW's Alma McCarty.
And I'm not surprised that he stood up and tried to take on the gunman. I am surprised that he's dead.
The death of Donald Surratt Jr. leaves behind a big hole at the Disabled American Veterans Organization in Bend.
He's going to be hard to replace.
Surratt, who was a combat engineer, was serving as treasurer of the organization.
There's so many things to say about Don. He was very sociable and very interesting person to talk to. And he always had an answer for everything.
Police say Surratt was working in the produce section of the Safeway Sunday when the gunman came in and opened fire. Surratt hid behind a cart, waited until the suspect got close, then attacked him with a produce knife. The suspect shot and killed Surratt and later turned the gun on himself. Investigators found a string of more than 100 shell casings that stretched from the shooter's apartment complex behind the Forum Shopping Center through the parking lot and into the store. In a vigil Monday night, community members expressed their disbelief.
You feel, I think, confused and, of course, sad, but I think like everyone, we don't want this to happen in our town.
The second victim, 84-year-old Glenn Bennett, was shot and killed at the front of the store. According to a GoFundMe page set up by his family, he was also a veteran and served as a medic in the Korean War. Police tell us two other shoppers who saw Bennett get shot came back into the store to pull him out of the building where medics tried to save him. Online fundraisers are now set up for both victims as friends of Donald Surratt look back on what made him so special.
He'd always tell you the truth. You might not like it, but he would tell you the truth. And that's a rare quality.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
If you'd like to help the victims' families, Alma mentioned the GoFundMes that are set up online. And Safeway Albertsons is also collecting donations at the registers of all their Oregon and Southern Washington stores.
Administrators in Lewis and Clark College released a photo of the column that collapsed and killed a student on Monday night. In a statement, the college president said students attached hammocks to columns that are part of the historic grape arbor, and one of those columns fell inward. A 19-year-old student died and two 18-year-olds were hurt. The school hasn't released the name of the student killed. Lewis and Clark says grief counselors are now available for students and for staff.
All right, let's get to some other local headlines on this Wednesday morning. We start with a fatal accident involving a semi-truck in North Portland. Portland police say the truck was driving down North Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard when it hit a man who was trying to cross the road. The driver remained on the scene and is cooperating with the investigation. The Drug Enforcement Administration says they've seized rainbow fentanyl in at least 18 states in just the last month. We've reported on this here locally, specifically in both Portland and Tigard. Well, the DEA says fentanyl in any form is highly addictive and potentially deadly, but it's arguably even more dangerous in this case because rainbow fentanyl looks like candy or sidewalk chalk and can grab the attention of teens or young kids. The DEA says anyone who comes across it should immediately call 911. And last headline here, authorities in Oregon recently busted several illegal marijuana grows. The first happened last Monday that is, in Yamhill County. Investigators seized more than 7,000 marijuana plants and over 10,000 pounds of dried marijuana from 2 massive operations in Dayton. They also arrested 12 people in the process. The second happened last Friday in Clackamas County. Investigators seized over 11,000 pounds of marijuana in this case. They also discovered meth, pills, guns, and several stolen vehicles. And that's a look at some of our Wednesday morning headlines.
Well, today is the first day of classes in the Ridgefield School District, and teachers have voted to strike. They say they'll be in the classroom this morning, even though their union rejected the latest contract offer. But teachers could walk off the job as soon as next week. They're asking for a 5.5% cost of living adjustment. They also want smaller class sizes for special education and more flexibility in what they teach their students. In the meantime, the district calls its last contract offer fair, adding it's doing the best it can within its budget.
We'll eventually go on strike. We will do that. We don't want to, though. We know how much that impacts the community, our students, our families, and we love them. We love what we do. This isn't what we want to be doing. In fact, I should be in my classroom right now preparing for tomorrow and tonight for my students and families to come.
We do have a budget that we have to adhere to, and we just have to be good stewards of public money. We're entrusted to, like I said, be good stewards of financing, and so we just have to be responsible with the dollars that we have.
The next bargaining session is set for next Wednesday, September 7th.
All right, let's bring you this morning's update on the Rum Creek fire. Firefighters say heavy smoke has helped to slow this fire down in southern Oregon. This fire is northwest of Grants Pass, right along the Rogue River. It's spread to both sides of the river and has burned more than 12,000 acres at this point. It's also still only 1% contained, although more firefighters are on their way to help out in the effort to protect homes and other structures in that area.
I mean, I could see some of the smoke here in the Portland area just yesterday, as we were sitting out last night.
That's south of where we have that cluster of smaller fires that runs, Highway 58 that runs from Eugene to Willamette Pass, I think. So that has definitely been kind of the bullseye this year of fire season. We do have a new red flag warning to tell you about out in the gorge. More on that in just a moment. But another part of our weather story is what happened yesterday. So these are high temperatures. I haven't confirmed whether or not Kelso's 99 was a record, but I do know every other temperature on this graphic was a new record high, including the Dow's. That was a hot spot in Oregon yesterday at 104, and Portland hit 100, and then a city I didn't get on the graphic is Hillsborough. Good morning to you folks. You had a record of 98 degrees yesterday. Hot today, not as hot. I mentioned the red flag warning right here in our area from Hood River, the Dow, so out in the gorge, out through the Columbia Basin, and what we're really watching this time, afternoon west winds kicking in 15 to 30 miles per hour, along with hot temperatures in that warning area between 91 and up to, again, in the East Gorge, around 100 degrees. And you folks from the Dows and the Pelton, you'll have near 100 degree temperatures for one more day tomorrow, and then you'll start to cool down on Friday. Here's where we are right now. We do have clouds cloud cover and probably some misty spots up and down the coastline. Newport 54, Astoria 55. Otherwise, partly cloudy to mostly clear up and down I-5. Kelso, good morning, 62. Salem, 63. Mainly clear out east. Burns this morning, good morning, 51 is your temperature. So here are some numbers for the valley today. Salem, 93. Yesterday was generally upper 90s. PDX was the only spot of the main reporting sites that we monitor in the valley that hit 100 yesterday. Everybody else was generally upper 90s, and today it's more like low 90s, 93 Salem, 91 McMinnville. So again, hot, but you'll notice it not being as bad out there later today. Battleground 90, Vancouver 93. Longview, you were in the upper 90s yesterday, today just 85, so that's a big cool off. You may get some early clouds to start your day up in Cowlitz County. We're watching that. Portland, another day in the 90s tomorrow. So today will be day 26. Tomorrow will be day 27 of 90-degree temperatures this summer. The record's 31. We're getting close. 89 Friday, and then we have a marine push that takes us way down Saturday. Morning clouds, afternoon sun, 83, and then although Sunday heats back up, we think we'll stay in the 80s for the Labor Day weekend forecast. Did he say 80s, not 90s for the holiday weekend? Yeah.
Doing the happy dance. I'm with you. That's a lot more comfortable. Thanks, Rod. Coming up on Sunrise, we will take you to Longview, Washington, which started off as a hub for a timber tycoon. But how did the city get its name? We have details for you next on Sunrise.